Hey everybody, John Grimsmo here, and today is New Machine Day. This is our brother Speedio S500X2. We actually got it a year ago, but we never got around to putting up the footage. So in this video, I've got footage of the delivery, I've got GoPro footage, I can narrate what's happening during that delivery. We actually had to move the kern over 5 feet in order to make room for the Speedio. I want to do a walk around of the machine, and I want to show you what we've been using it for in the past year and what the plans are to use it in the future. So let's jump into the delivery footage, and then afterwards, I'll show you what we've been up to.
All right, so here you can see the machine, the kern is on the dollies, and we are pulling it and pushing it and trying to get it right into those little corner markers so that it lines up exactly where we want it to, because we planned this out very specifically. Here we are using both an automotive jack and also the barrel jack to lift up the corner of the machine, get the dollies underneath. Trying to plan and prep and get the kern feet, you know, the way they need to be. We've already moved the machine over, and now we're just kind of taking the dollies out from underneath it. Grayson's cleaning the floor, getting everything ready. The feet of the kern are actually wedges, so you tighten the screw and the wedge goes up or down. And the kern's on 3 feet, which makes it super easy to level and is far superior to 4 feet. So we're just jacking up the machine, getting down one corner at a time, and putting the feet in place. It's certainly nerve-wracking moving this very expensive machine ourselves. We did not get riggers to come and move the kern. We just figured we could do it, and we did. So we've got a level. Actually, you can see here Angelo is on. There's a level on the thing, and Angelo was moving every jacking point to get it level. So the next step is to get the Aroa moved over to where the kern is. All right, so the first thing we have to do is we have to move the Aroa over just a little bit so that we can get the chilling unit. It's like an air conditioner for the coolant of the machine. And you can see it on the left-hand side here. We've got it up on the pallet jack. This big white box with tubes that are already plugged into the machines. We're managing those cables. And so we're putting the chiller in this corner. It used to be over on the left-hand side. So now it's over in the corner. And then we're going to move the Aroa back. Lift it up, just pallet jack it out. It's not that heavy. And then we've got our electrician in with the firepower to bring the forklift. This is our mist collector, an AeroX ARO 1000. Lift that up, put it up on the bracket we put up on the wall. So this mist collector is big enough to feed both machines, or to suck from both machines, the Speedio and the kern. And that was nice and dicey to put up ourselves. Had a lot of fun. Alright, forklift comes out of the way. Make sure that thing is secure. Sweep, clean, all the time. And then we jack up the pallet changer again, push it into place. The position of it is quite important. It has to be, you know, within an inch of kind of where it was before. Otherwise, we have to reteach it significantly. We did have to reteach it, but you want to make it as close as humanly possible. Now comes the fun part, the Speedio delivery. So the Speedio is there. This is probably a different day. Speedio comes up off the rack. All the Speedios always come wrapped in this cool foil, which protects them and keeps them, you know, from rusting during transit. You can see Fraser filming there. We can't find that footage, so sorry. Taking the wrapping off, all excited. The footage was great. It was going to be really cool. Can't find it. All right, so we did have professional riggers come and deliver the Speedio and help us push it into place. So here you can see, this is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets super interesting. A lot going on right now. You can see Steven's in the front, a lot of the guys. There's a guy on each corner with the dollies, trying to put them under the 4 feet of the Speedio, and gently pallet jacking it down. Notice that the lights just went out. Watch it again. We're all working, the lights start flickering, the lights go out. Me and Angelo are very confused what's happening right now. We got a machine delivery, doors open. What's going on? Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's figure it out. Let's get this machine going. Okay, so we're pushing the machine. The 4 of us, we've got a person on each side. It's a very tight fit between the new kern location and this corner right here is the chip conveyor of the Mori. So I got to move the panel of the kern over so it fits, and I measured it. I knew it would be a tight fit, and it is a tight fit, but it's coming. It's going through. Now you notice what I'm doing right here, down here, is because the floor looks level, but it's actually like ever so slightly wavy. My foot, my moving pad was actually losing it and falling out, and I'd have to keep it in line with the machine, otherwise it would, the machine could topple over. Notice the big massive smile on Grayson's face and my face. Watch the lighting. It is flickering like a disco party, and I'll tell you why in a second. It is just still going. Imagine the lights in the shop just flickering like crazy. AC doesn't work at this point. It's very hot, midsummer last year, and machine's finally in place, still in the dollies. We left it there for a couple days, and then we jacked it up, put it down. Lights flickering like crazy. So it turns out what happened is the transformer at the road, which feeds 6 businesses in this vicinity, exploded. Like literally one of those big can transformers exploded. The lid shot in the sky. It shot sparks. One of the guys across the street saw the sparks, and shorted and caused this disco light flickering, and all the businesses in our little block just totally went dead. And it was super weird, and it took days for the power company to actually figure out what was going on, and that some businesses were wired differently than others, and they'd put another can in. The second transformer exploded as well. I think even the third one popped, and it was weird. And it was very disappointing for us because we were down. It was pretty easy to get the current leveled and plugged back in again, and we're ready to rock, but we have no power. So we were down for a couple days, waiting for the power company to get their act together and get this thing fixed. And they'd try and they'd get it fixed, and we'd test the power, and I think there was a good half day or day where I didn't have anybody come in because there was no point, there was no power. So that was fun, but we got it figured out, and then the power worked again, and then we got everything hooked up, and then that's the delivery.
So you may be asking yourself, why did we put the Speedio so immediately close to the Aroa pallet changer, right next to the kern? Well, the goal is the pallet changer currently pallet changes into the kern and back, and I also want to pallet change into the Speedio and back, and even from Speedio back to the pallet changer to the kern and back and forth, depending. Because the whole theory is the kern is a very precise, very expensive machine, and there's work we do on it that's time consuming that can easily be done on a Speedio that is significantly several times cheaper than the kern is. So we can maximize our productivity and our usefulness of the fancy machine with the less fancy machine, which is still an amazing, amazing, amazing machine. But that helps us grow. Instead of buying a second kern, which we don't need right now and can't afford right now, we get the Speedio to make more stuff, to maximize what we're capable of doing. That's the theory, that's the goal. So you notice we moved the machines ourselves. I bought these machine moving dollies. They're a strong way. I got them from Northern Tool in the US. They've got these polyurethane wheels, so they're nice on our epoxy floors. They're very heavy, and they're very heavy duty, and they have a cap, a weight rating cap of 8,000 pounds for each dolly. That's a lot. So with 3 or 4 of them, depending on the machine, works really well. They glide really smooth. I mean, these machines weigh, the Speedio is probably like 6,000 pounds, and the Kern I think is 9,000 pounds. And it's very doable to push the machine with 2 or 3 people on these dollies because they move so smoothly. And you're just combating the momentum of the machine at that point. Stopping it is more interesting than starting it. And if the floor dips down, or if there's a little bump in the floor or a little rock or something, it makes it more difficult. So we got the machine moving dollies, and then we also got this toe jack in order to lift the machine up, lift a corner of the machine up just enough so that this could go underneath. And the last thing we did is we cut this rubber pad to put on top, which adds a little bit of grip so that the machine doesn't actually slip on top. And sometimes, especially with a 4-footed machine, as the floor dips away in one corner, even just a little bit, the one of the dollies will lose it. The machine will lift up and the dolly will start to roll away. So you need a person on each dolly in order to make sure it doesn't roll away. With a 3-footed machine, that doesn't happen on the Kern because you always have 3 points of contact, not 4. Here I am standing in the middle of our shop, looking to the back of the shop. We have our CMM, which we haven't shown on YouTube yet. We have 3 lathes, our Williman, our Swiss, and our Nakamura. Surface grinder in the back, air compressors in the back corner. If I rotate around, we have our assembly quality station here. And then on this side, we have the Kern Aroa Speedio cell, and then we got our Mori right over there as well. And then lapping is in this corner. And that's it. So, you know, we could squeeze the Speedio anywhere, but I really wanted it beside the Kern. And there's not much wall space to the wall over there, so we did have to move it over. Kern's ripping away. Such a cool machine. I have wanted one of these machines since 2014. In 2015, I ended up buying the DuraVertical instead. It was between the Speedio and the DuraVertical, and the Speedio and the DuraVertical, and I ended up choosing the DuraVertical. Very happy with that machine. It's been incredibly reliable. I think I would have been equally happy had I gotten a Speedio instead at the same time. Such a cool machine. So what's neat about these machines is they're extremely, extremely fast. And they have 21 tools, which I wish it had a lot more. The new ones have 28 tools, which is amazing. But the tool changer goes stupid fast. The machine goes stupid fast. It is the fastest machine we have in the shop. 50 meters per minute. The Williman is 40 meters per minute. And I think the Kern is 30. And that is possibly 30, maybe even slower. It is so fast. So I have the table configured, because we've had it for a year. I've had a lot of time to configure it. I made a riser because the Speedios have this thing where they can't machine the table unless you have a really long tool. So you have to space everything up. So I made a 2 or 3 inch riser, aluminum, which I put on Shunk Vero pallets, which if I activate them here, these are spring-loaded ejector pins just to help get the pallet out, but also to seal so no chips get inside, which is awesome. And it's a pull stud system, so a tapered pull stud goes in here, locating alignment pins right here so you can clock your fixture. Once I close them, these don't go down anymore. There's a rubber seal, so when I'm doing something else, this doesn't get chips all up inside the business. So that's awesome. We put a Bloom laser probe on here, which most people don't do. Most people have the touch tool setter. I needed the laser because I want to do grinding in this machine. So this is our grinding wheel that cuts our rasp blades, the bevels on the rasp blades. And you can't touch a grinding wheel off on a touch tool setter. So we need the laser beam where the tool can be measured in length, come over, and then touch on diameter, touch on other diameter, and get the actual diameter and the tool wear and the update comp and things like that. So we've also got a Bloom probe on it. And I basically just wanted to match probe and laser with what this machine is using. You can't see the probe, the tool setter on the bottom right now, but it's also got the same Bloom probe that this machine has. The Brother control is Fanuc based, so it's sort of similar to, you know, Fanuc and Fanuc and Fanuc, but it's got its own flavor to it. And it's, you know, kind of hard to wrap your head around what all the screens do, but for the most part, it's got your MDI, it's got your memory, it's got your manual, your edit screen. There's some weird Speedio tricks that take you a while to learn. In your data bank, you got your macros, your tool table, your tool list. You can track things like your tool end of life, 9,000 minutes, tool life warning at 265. Current tool life is at 1,000 minutes for this tool, 100 minutes for that tool. So there's some cool stuff. I did get through spindle coolant through spindle on this machine, 430 PSI I think it is. And it's awesome. Definitely buy the upgraded LEDs, the Waldman lights, because they are fantastic. Like, you can buy the bare bones machine without those, but it's dumb because it's dark inside. You just have to add them yourself. That's no fun. It's also got chip flush wash down up here because we added this auto door. Our local reseller, Ferrotechniques, actually designed, implemented, had this made, installed it for us, and these scissor doors kind of open up and close so that we can pallet change through the gap there, which will get covered up, to grab a pallet and bring it in and put it in. Now this is a 3-axis machine, so all of these pallets, if I were to put this tombstone on the Speedio, all it could do is machine the top of it. It can't tip and get the sides. So whereas the Kern right now is tipped over B90 and will rotate in C to get access to every side of the pallet, can't do that in the Speedio. So in the Speedio, we won't be running the tombstones, but we'll run stuff like this, our vices and other vices, and on the other side, specifically the smaller components. Like I'll show you right now. On this side of the Aroa, we have 55 possible spots for small pallets, and we're doing stuff like this. So our lock inserts, we've got blade fixtures on here. So things like that, and other work is going to go into the Speedio. And even the Kern, I'm only using less than 10 of these small pallets, and there's 55, so let's utilize them. Also got the additional jog pendant, the World Encoders one. Everybody told me to get that. Put our Sylvent air gun with a 3D printed adapter. This has, if you haven't seen these before, Sylvent air guns. They have a metal 3D printed nozzle that kind of directs the air, makes it quieter and better. You get a good force, and it is quieter for the operator. It's awesome. This is a smaller table. It's only 500 millimeters by 400 millimeters. So I'm really trying to cram everything in. So I made another spacer here. This is a MX Aroa adapter plate, which is plumbed in. So I can activate this Pearson valve right here. Jets come up so that you clear out the pads. Pallet comes out. This is the Aroa mounting base that mounts in the Kern and in the Aroa. It'll get changed in like that. And then the next one will come back in, go in. This will all be automatic, not manual. And now it's in there, located properly. Super accurate, super good. And then I machined a little dressing stick mount right here, which holds this dressing rod, which is made of some magic material. So the grinding wheel will actually come in, come down, it'll touch it off with the touch probe, measure distances and stuff, and then dress the wheel to square it up and make it true, and then that's permanently mounted there. So that's kind of the setup. We also have the Pearson SmartVac system, because I made a, I'll go grab it here for you. All right, so one of the components we made quite a lot of on the Speedio was cutting this Richlite material, which is basically compressed paper with epoxy, which is made of recycled paper, and it is 1 inch thick, super dense, still a pretty cool material, because we wanted to make a display case for our Saga pens using an acrylic lid that kind of clicks in place, and then little 3D printed objects to hold our Saga pen and ink inside. And they worked out really well, and they look amazing. They got engravings on the back, and they feel really cool, and they're kind of lightweight, and they're not cold metal or anything, and they're not really plastic. The problem is they were an absolute pain in the butt to machine. And the chips that they made were so fluffy and dusty, and they would wear end mills like really quickly, and it was annoying to machine. Like, really cool material, but we really struggled with machining it, and we didn't really film or talk much about it because we struggled so much during, which would have been really cool to film, but we didn't want to at the time. And then since getting our new Nanook cases, we haven't really touched the Richlight, but we still have quite a lot of it. So maybe at some point we'll do some more stuff in it. Oh, and also I got super mad at myself because this is a broken probe tip. So that Bloom probe that I showed you, I actually crunched one of them into this piece. Happens to be the one I picked up. So this is the tip of a probe, and the inside of the probe got all mangled as well. So I had to buy another one, and I had to send that one back for a rebuild. And yeah, this is sort of my Richlight of shame right here. But so on the vacuum palette, we're able to do stuff like this acrylic. So this is the clear acrylic for the top, for the lid. So we would suck down this 12 by 12 piece onto the vacuum fixture, and we'd be able to make, I think it was 10 pieces, and then flipped 5 more on that side. And the cool thing with the paper, the protective paper, so that you don't scratch the acrylic, is that we would suck down on the paper, we'd peel the top side off, we'd machine it, and we'd be able to machine it literally halfway through the bottom layer of paper, so that it still held a vacuum, because if you break through, then you lose vacuum, your parts fly off and everything. But the part was fully machined, fully everything, and then we would just peel it off the paper, and it was amazing. That worked really, really well. So these Richlight cases, we only made a few hundred of them, and we only made them from kind of late 2020. So if you have one, they're pretty special, because we stopped making them around Christmas, and I'm kind of sad and I'm kind of glad as well. Another cool thing we did with these is I wanted it to click in place. So it has a stop in the bottom, so it hard stops at the bottom here, but these slots allow some compliance to let it click in place. Very cool. So that was a Speedio project that we made, one of many. Another Speedio project that we made are these cast iron lapping plates. Cast iron is a horrible material to machine, especially with coolant. So these are hand lapping plates, machined a triangular grid pattern into them. This one's got 15 micron, I believe, and it's a diamond lapping slurry, and these two plates are extremely flat and parallel to each other, so that you can lap a part to be an absolute mirror finish and extraordinarily flat. So this is its whole other video at some point. I just want a quick touch on it. They were extremely fun to make. We made a lot because I don't ever want to make them again. So I made way more than I need. Not enough to sell, but enough to have for our lifetimes. We made some 6-inch ones, some 8-inch ones. These guys are monsters. I can't even get them apart one-handed. We surface ground them on the Okamoto surface grinder, and then they'll get hand lapped together. So they make very, very flat parts. So this is the manual version of how we use our lapping machine to make the blades flat, basically. Check this out, I'll show you guys the doors opening up. So it's a simply M50 code. Cycle start, opens the doors, backspace M51, 451, close the doors. Nice and even, nice and gentle. 450, 451. They actually had to put individual regulators on the left and the right cylinder in order to time them to be just perfect. Otherwise, literally the length of air hose, if it's longer by an inch to one of the cylinders, will close that one slower, I guess. So we're able to regulate them both now to be a pretty sweet, even close and open. I love it. And then the pallet changer arm will go through there. Right now it's kind of sitting, waiting for the kern to meet it. And this whole unit rotates, and we'll be able to rotate 180 to this direction and put a pallet right here. Grab it, bring it back, put it back that way, put it in the rack, grab the next one, put it in here. Now the big question is, how do you, the way the kern talks to the Aroa is different than the way the Speedio will talk to the Aroa. So I've got some clever programming tricks to do, especially if I want to get the Speedio to talk to the kern, to be like, the Speedio's like, oh, I'm done with pallet 60. And then the kern's like, okay, I guess it's my turn. I'll run this program on it next. So I've got some really good ideas for how to do that, but the proof is in the pudding, so we'll see. And as I said, it's been an entire year that we've had this machine. We've been waiting for Eroa to deliver us this box, which came last week, which has the components required to let the pallet changer do 2 machines. And it took a year for this box to come. So inside there's cable harnesses, lots of cables, air lines, fittings, pneumatics. Also inside is a whole bunch of circuitry and fancy stuff, PLC logics and all that jazz. So whatever they need to get my 2 machines talking to each other, I'll take it. Close that door. Beauty. Okay, remember I showed you that little 1-inch grinding wheel on the Speedio? We also have the exact same one on the Kern, and this is what it does. For our Rask blade, it is able to grind this finish, which is a really nice looking finish, and do it accurately and do it awesome so that our guys can then stone it out and make it even nicer. But the nicer it comes off the machine, the better it is for everybody. So this is a very time-consuming operation for our most expensive machine. My goal is to have this machine to do it. So I've been playing around, I've been practicing with it, and my first result is this. You can see the difference that this machine is making. Now I've realized since that part of that, a big part of that, is actually in the tool path itself, and the way the blade is angled on the fixture is causing ever so slight Y movements, which the Kern is able to filter out and the Speedio is just stepping. So part of that is me, and I've been able to get better results since then, but part of it is just also like time and experience and realizing that the Speedio is not a Kern, and I'm spoiled by the Kern. I'm trying to do the same thing on the Speedio, but I think I've got a solution that's going to get me the results that I want, even if it takes longer, because it has less RPM on this machine. 42,000 RPM, although I'm grinding at 30,000, and 16,000 RPM on this machine. So it's going to take longer to lower RPM, but I have time on this machine. And if I can auto change these blades, and I can make, you know, like 10 of these or 20 of these, and just have them go into the Speedio and take all the time it needs, run all night, run all day, run all weekend, whatever. That saves a significant amount of time on the Kern. So I'm really close to that, really close to the results that I want on this machine, and then we'll be going. And then Eroa should be coming in to hook up the 2 machines in the next, hopefully, few weeks, now that we have our parts, and then my goals will be achieved. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up there. There's so much more to talk about on this machine in the future. Now that I've got this delivery and this overview out of the way, I wanna show some machining footage. I've got a bunch of projects lined up for this machine for the next few Wednesday videos for us. So stay tuned for that. It's an incredible machine. It is so fast and so cool. A ton of knife makers are buying these machines, and other industries as well. Like a buddy of mine has 12 Speedios in his shop, maybe more by now. And it's just a fantastic machine. But it's not a Kern. But it's different. But it's better in some ways, and it's worse in some ways, and it's the right machine for the job, you know? Still an absolutely top-of-the-line machine that I'm happy to have on the team, and I want to make more productive and make us lots and lots of money, because that's why you buy machines. That's why you have this machine shop with lots of very expensive equipment, so you can make money from it and like hire good people and pay them really well, and et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, guys, that's a wrap. I will see you on the next video. Bye.